The school started as actually the high school. The high school was on the same grounds as we're on now, which is why we have this called High School Street out here. And after many years with having just elementary and high school, the need came along for middle school as well. And at that time they called it junior high. So the junior high was formed and the high school was moved. And the junior high was there for, I'm not even sure how many years before it was torn down. It was torn down and rebuilt in 1995 with this new building. So when the new building was built, it became an intermediate school and a middle school with grades 5 and 6 and grades 7 and 8. And so the kids from elementary school started coming over in 5th grade. I wasn't here in the district yet, but I've heard lots of stories how that was a really big adjustment for kids to be coming from elementary school over to intermediate school.
The old school, or the previous school there, was amazing because of its history. You know, you knew you were in a very old building, which there are positives and negatives about that, of course. But knowing I was in a historical building teaching, it was pretty cool.
The old school was an old red brick building, and long halls with the teachers' doors on either side. That was before we had computers, and so there were all clips on all the doors where we would hang our attendance, and the students would come and get the attendance.
Back in the 70s, we did not team. We started teaming in the mid-80s. And so we had 6th grade teachers and 7th grade teachers and 8th grade teachers. The kids did not have a common place to call home. They all just kind of wandered the whole building.
The building was so old that they built a new one because it would take too much to renovate the old one. But it just had a warmth to it. You knew a lot of really good people came through it.
Well, actually, the building was now the playfield. We exited, the main entrance went out onto Normandy, and they built this school, moved all the kids over to this school, and then tore down the old junior high.
When we switched from McCulloch Middle School to this building, it was quite an ordeal. Each teacher was given, maybe 10 boxes to put all of his or her items in. I had 50 boxes that I brought over from the old building to the new building. It was a great experience. I loved the new building.
And then also I remember it being such a big deal about who was going to have what classroom and making all those assignments. I know the administration had to work really hard with that.
Before I came to McCulloch, this new building here, I was teaching 5th grade at Higher when they decided, because of crowding issues, to move the 5th grade to a new campus. They met, there was a committee of teachers, parents, administrators, community members that met for almost 2 years to plan the program that would happen in this building before it was built, and it opened in 1995. So the 5th grade moved here, and this became 5th grade and 6th grade being McCulloch, 7th and 8th grade being Highland Park Middle School.
So for a long time, elementary school in the Park Cities was K through 5th grade. And then when we were in 4th grade, when my class was in 4th grade, we became the first class to come over to the middle school. So we were the first class that was at 5th and 6th grade was McCulloch Intermediate School. 7th and 8th grade was Highland Park Middle School. And I remember it being such a big deal for the community because these 5th graders, the little 5th graders, were going to middle school. And so meanwhile, we felt like we were the big dogs, being able to head to middle school and leave all the elementary school kids back at UP Elementary. But we got to have the experience of a brand new school, a brand new start, and experience middle school as a 5th grader, which we thought was really cool.
One of the things that Highland Park Middle School has done in the past couple of years is had an 8th grade Spirit Day. And that Spirit Day has brought in so much fun and excitement to the 8th grade class. It brings us all together at the end of the year to celebrate a really great year. It lets the students just be on their own and have fun doing things other than academics.
There's always a lot of school spirit, of course, at the athletic events, but also really appreciating the arts. You know, I see just tremendous skills and talents with the orchestra and the choir and the productions that are put on by the theater department.
There's a lot of school spirit still. It's nice to see that the kids are able to be real involved. When I was here, we had only 8 cheerleaders, and then we had a pep squad. And so everybody was always real involved and attended the games. And then they had a pep squad that carried over, and the spirit committee carried over to the high school as well. So everybody was able to be involved.
We still have pep rallies like we used to have. Some things that are really different. We used to have a field day, and that was for all the school. They would go out and we would have games, we'd have sack races, we'd have a dunking booth, we'd have all kinds of different things. And of course the teachers and the principals would be in the dunking booths. So that was one of the most popular things.
You know, I think probably a big one that stands out is the school spirit that people have at, whether it's the high school football games or whether it is supporting Mad for Plaid in order to keep the school district competing and at the level of quality that the district wants. I think those are tremendous, that's a tremendous tradition that really helps the quality of education in this district.
I think my favorite tradition ever since I came to the Highland Park School District was the bagpipes. You know, I hear the bagpipes playing to this day, it gives me goosebumps. And, you know, it's just a really special thing. And it's unique to Highland Park.
There were always pep rallies before the games. There used to be a tradition on football pep rallies where they gave each of the football players an apple. I don't know if they still do that or not. The tradition of dressing on game days was definitely something that happened when I was here.
The sports at HPMS are basketball, volleyball, football, cross country, track, and you can play lacrosse outside of school. Football and track are probably the biggest sports. The uniforms kind of vary. Like in basketball, you have a white and red uniform and then like a mainly red and white uniform. But for track and cross country, they have like red and white.
When I went to Highland Park High School, there were not as many sports available to students as there are now. For example, girls had only 2 opportunities to participate in a sport. They could be on the swim team or on the tennis team. There weren't all the opportunities.
Back when I was there in the early 70s, the biggest sport was football. There was tremendous competition for the places on the junior high school team as well as going into the high school. And I think it remains that way today.
We had, the boys at that particular time had football, basketball, and track, and that was pretty much it. The girls came in later with
we only had tennis and track.
Yeah.
Title IX eventually happened when they had to be equality between boys and girls. We tried at one point to start a soccer team here at the middle school, but the teams that we did play did not have soccer teams. So we eventually got volleyball, then basketball. But the Title IX really helped us a lot because there had to be some equality between the boys and girls sports.
We were the Red Raiders. We were the Red Raiders, and the colors were red and gold even then. I know it's changed a little bit now, but there was the one school, the junior high school, and that's what it was.
Everybody was always pretty excited about our school and anything we tried to do. And we were very traditional, and we loved our colors, especially for junior high, red and gold. We had cheerleaders, but we didn't have the drill team or anything like it. It was much less involved than it is now.
I was one of the cheerleading sponsors when the 8th grade cheerleading was open to everyone. So I spent a lot of time with those girls back then. Again, really it was, I guess, the years at the old middle school and then this building too, where we had numerous girls in that, over 100. And I don't know exactly how many there are this year, but over 100 girls, 150 girls, if I remember correctly.
Really one of the biggest changes was when girls sport came to the middle school it gave girls the opportunity to experience team sports in a big way. And really and truly, I think that's one of the biggest changes that we've seen, because the boys had the opportunity to be part of a team. And there's something about winning as a team and losing as a team that's a real educational process. And the girls didn't get to experience it when we came through, but now they do. And Highland Park girls sports dominates a lot of their competition. It really helps them become better people.
One element of team play back then was the coaches did a great job of playing as many players as were possible. There wasn't just a starting 5 or a starting 11. I mean, Coach White had 7 or 8 teams that had different colored jerseys during the week, and those teams would go in all 5 at a time during a basketball game, and you never knew when you were going in. But he somehow managed to coach and motivate and keep 30 plus kids interested, even though everyone can't start the game.
So you could take art, you could take family consumer science, you could take choir or band or orchestra. In 6th grade, there was a rotation class where you could take a different elective class every 6 weeks. But I think that ended as soon as I went to 7th grade, but that was in 6th grade.
One of the changes that I think has probably happened for maybe the worst is that we dropped shop. One of the electives that you could take was metal shop or woodworking shop. A lot of kids really enjoyed that. That set them on a course to do a lot of things for themselves when they had places of their own. But other than that, there was alternatives of singing and various kinds of electives that were allowing the kids to prepare for electives that were available at the high school.
You know, the sports and the different activities give a whole lot of kids, you know, their foot in the door. They give everybody, every student, you know, their little niche in life over there at the high school. And a lot of that begins to develop here because there are kids in the middle school, you know, who become part of the drama program, and then they carry that over to the high school.
One of the biggest things in our elective classes that has changed has been the technology. We have gone from a very more basic technology discovery type classes into multimedia, students working with audio visual that is real life situations, and they do interviews and video, and just the technology has just multiplied considerably. Now with the addition of smart boards and Promethean boards, we have really come a long way with how we can display material for our students. The access the students have to our materials by way of web pages like Moodle, they have just, in the last 10 years, we have just seen a huge amount of technology growth.
Back then, the way I did my research, went to the library at school and spent hours going through the card catalog, looking up, researching. The research took longer than writing the paper or getting things done. On the weekends, a lot of us are at night when school was closed, we would go to the SMU library, and it was a lot of work.
There's nothing like teaching kids that want to learn and that are prepared to learn. And when I say prepared to learn, I don't just mean, you know, testing their IQ. I mean, they have social skills, they can communicate, and they're respectful. And so when they see that you respect them, then the door is wide open, and you can teach that student anything, and they can teach you anything. And it's really a neat experience.
2 people who really influenced me when I came were Kellis White and Clyde Stanson. Both of them men who embodied integrity. They stood by their word. Clyde Stanson was our assistant principal. Mr. Stanson was fair. He knew every student by name. I couldn't believe that. He knew who needed money for lunch. He knew who was having trouble at home. He knew the kids. He cared about the kids. And I think he instilled that in his teachers as well.
The high expectation and everybody wanting to meet that, everybody wanting to do the very best they can all the time. I think that's an amazing thing here, is that the bar is set high and I constantly see that the students are trying to get to that, you know, and I love that. The high achieving and the excitement. I see lots of excitement in the hallways.
The kids in the schools have not changed. I think our students are great from the perspective of if I'm a teacher, the students are going to always work hard, and they want to excel, they want to do their best. And if I'm a coach, the students are going to work their fannies off to be the best they can be. And that's a standard that has been consistent the whole time I've been here.
One of the things I admire most about this district is the parental support that we as teachers receive. Not only do the kids come to school with so much respect for their teachers and a willingness to work hard, but the parents really support us as teachers. They not only fund a lot of things and provide us with a lot of extra technology that we couldn't have otherwise, but they also just support their kids. They support what they're doing, and they always want what's best for their student academically. And I just think that is just a wonderful thing about this district.
This community is very unique, and they incorporate into themselves and into their family unit the lives of the kids. And you guys right now are the kids. One day you'll be the leaders.
If I were to use one word to describe my time at Highland Park, I would just have to say it's been incredible.
My one word would be irreplaceable.
Meaningful.
Life-changing.
Mine would be just extraordinary.
Tradition.
Well, as a student, it was exciting. And as a counselor, it was glorious.
Satisfaction.
Integrity.
Wow. Pleasure. I really enjoyed myself. I enjoyed teaching, enjoyed the kids, and I still keep up with a lot of them.
Highland Park, they're just committed. Everybody's committed to the community, to the students.
I don't know if I can say it in one word. I don't know if I can say anything in one word, but just it's been an amazing experience to get to work here and teach here and be a school counselor here.
We're going to continue to be a very successful school district. I know we're getting bigger, we're continuing to grow, because I think there are many families that want to be a part of a very successful school district. So I think we're going to get bigger, I think we're going to continue to grow, but I think we're always going to be the best school district around.